Hello, everyone. Welcome to History with Hersefat. I'm your host, Chris, aka Hersefat. Today, we'll be starting our discussion of the decade that was the 80s with the year 1980. The views shared on this podcast come from your everyday, ordinary people. My hope is that it'll give unique perspective on history. For future podcasts, we're going to be doing a What's the Deal with Psychedelics on 1981. I'm going to continue the decade of the 80s. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Today we have Esteban and Brad with us to start off the 80s. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us.
Oh, hello.
And
Hola, hola.
Buenos dias, senor.
We'll get right into the weird news of the week. Keeping that going. It was successful in the 90s. Why not bring it back? And this week's is I don't know. Well, this week's article is from the New York Post. The title of the article is Teen Lands Bizarre Hole-in-One in His Butt. How Docs Got It Out. And the article, again, this is one of these articles where it's not so much what happened, it's the way that it's written. The first line is, talk about a hole-in-one. The doctors in Australia, of course it's Australia, recently struggled to remove a foreign object trapped in a 14-year-old boy's intestine after he put it in his anus. While x-rays seemed to show the teen experimented with a round white egg, it was actually a golf ball that it was pictured making its way to his sigmoid colon, the last section of the large intestine that connects to the rectum. The boy, whose name was not disclosed,
Smart.
Yes. Yeah. Also, he's a minor too, so that helps out. Reportedly panicked when he couldn't dispose of the golf ball by defecating, so he told his mother, who rushed him to Royal, Adelaide Hospital. He did not complain of any discomfort, according to case reports in surgery. Doctors tried to remove the golf ball with various devices: a suction cup, medicinal net, or medical net, loop snare, quad prong grasper. I don't know what these are, but I got to look them up. The quad prong grasper.
Yeah. That sounds uncomfortable.
The retrieval pouch and balloon catheter. Okay, yeah.
Oh, God.
They reported stopping with the aggressive interventions after more than 2 hours, hoping the golf ball would spontaneously enter the rectum. However, an x-ray showed it was still there even 24 hours later. The boy's family was reportedly not keen on doctors performing any more physical removal attempts. So the medical specialist administered 1 liter of laxatives. That's a lot of laxatives. 3 hours later, doctors noted a successful evacuation of the golf ball and observed no evidence of bowel injury. They did, however, advise the boy against inserting further objects into his rectum in the future. Yes, and that is our weird news of the week.
Man.
There's somebody I think it was in Denmark or something like that, who ate a bunch of batteries. She had a shit ton of batteries in her stomach.
That was during the 90s at some point.
Yeah, someone milked them out. Yeah.
I'm just glad they didn't disclose his name. I mean, I'm glad that's a policy.
Yeah.
I feel like in the U.S., we have newspapers can get first names and last initial for minors.
Mm-hmm.
And that never really helped me as a kid. I have a pretty interesting first name. But,
right.
It'd be like if in the newspaper they were trying to keep you anonymous and it said LeBron J. And you're like, I wonder who that is.
Yeah.
So they gave him they gave him a liter of laxatives. So, when it came out, did it go 200 yards, landed on the green?
They had to yell
Hopefully.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4. Shot it out. What is it? I can't remember the ping pong trick. That South Park movie. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Winona Ryder shooting ping pongs out her badge. You could do this
Probably
too.
Based on truth.
Yeah. This guy's shooting golf balls.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Except this guy's shooting a golf ball out of his ass.
Right.
I'd pay to see that.
Well, go to Australia. Go down under. See some stuff.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. All right. It's time. So we will now move into the timeline portion of the years 1980.
Oh, yeah.
Up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Remember this face. Good morning, everyone. There appears to have been a very serious accident involving the Space Shuttle Challenger.
What you talking about, Will?
Good evening. Millions of people mourned the tragic death of John Lennon today, the young and the middle-aged.
There has been a nuclear accident in the Soviet Union, and the Soviets have admitted that it happened. The Soviet version is this.
Where's the beat?
Astonishing news from East Germany, where the East German authorities have said, in essence, that the Berlin Wall doesn't mean anything anymore.
Afternoon, everybody.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
On January 27, 1980, 6 United States diplomats posing as Canadians managed to escape from Tehran, Iran, as they board a flight to Zurich, Switzerland on Swiss Air. Years later, the movie Argo would be based on this event, depicting the truer, more American story of how it was entirely the CIA omitting much of the Canadian assistance. You guys ever see the movie Argo? You ever watch that?
Heard of it?
It's pretty good.
I watched it. I guess
Pretty
I
good.
missed the part where they were pretending to be Canadians, and then I have to ask myself, how do you do that?
Well, you just
Hey.
you just say "a" at the end of everything.
Even in 1980, I imagine. I mean, I don't know. If somebody said pretend to be Canadian, I wouldn't know where to start.
I'd get denim jacket, denim jeans, denim shirt.
Talk about Tim Hortons and maple syrup and
Gretzky was big, right? I would just talk about Gretzky a lot.
there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think it's his
Are you
rookie
sure
year.
you're not Canadian, Esteban?
Right. That sounds like a Canadian name. February 19th, 1980, Bon Scott, the lead singer of AC/DC, dies in London. Although common folklore cites pulmonary aspiration of vomit as the cause of death, the official causes are listed as acute alcohol poisoning, death by misadventure, and replacing blood with grain liquor. That's
rough.
Bon Scott. How different vocally? I don't think there's not much of a difference between him and the guy that takes over for him.
I don't know. Bon Scott had more of like a punk kind of attitude to his voice.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell the difference. It's similar vocal styles, but I don't know. Bon Scott seemed more fun.
What would be like a famous song before and a famous song after?
Ooh, TNT
is before or after?
Is before, and then after is Back in Black.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought that TNT was after Back in Black because I thought it was that guy. I didn't realize that was Bon Scott.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it
it
sounds like a dying pterodactyl to me or something along those lines. That's the.
Yeah, it's a great vocal.
Yeah, that's absolutely it's unique.
Yes.
On February 22nd, 1980, the United States hockey team defeats the Soviet Union at the Lake Placid Olympics, later dubbed the Miracle on Ice, although Disney would later trademark that term. One of the greatest upsets in sports history, I think, still mentioned today, about a group of college kids basically took on an NHL level team that had been playing together for like 15 years. They practice every day. That's all they do is just play hockey, and it's a bunch of college kids, and they won. And although they beat the Soviet Union, which was like considered the runaway favorite, I mean, they had already beaten the United States earlier in the tournament. They actually had to beat Finland, I believe it was, or Sweden to win the gold, which they did. But the Soviet Union was the big one. I can't remember the guy's name, the announcer. I think it's Al something. Al Michaels, I think his name was.
Yep. Al Michaels. I didn't know if you were serious or not. Yeah, Al Michaels, yeah.
Yeah, Al Michaels
and Kurt
is the
Russell.
guy. And Kurt Russell. Yeah, he got Kurt Russell to coach the team. He did quite a good job.
Yeah. Hell of a career.
Shortly after it was an Escape from L.A. Al Michaels does that famous "Do you believe in miracles?" That's him. I didn't know that till like years and years later. That was Al Michaels who said that. So, because he was always known as the football guy to me. But yeah. On March 19th, 1980, Elvis Presley's autopsy was subpoenaed during the trial of Dr. George Nichopoulos, who would later be found guilty of overprescribing drugs to Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, and other clients. Nichopoulos would become the inspiration for the character Dr. Nick on the television show The Simpsons. and the rather unscrupulous Dr. Kevorkian. On April 9th, 1980, Madison Square Garden Sports Network is officially rechristened as the USA Network, a TV station that would later become popular for its 24-hour Walker Texas Ranger marathon.
Hell yeah.
On May 7th, 1980, Paul Guidel, let's go with Guidel. Paul Guidel, convicted of second-degree murder at the age of 17 in 1911, is released from prison in Beacon, New York, after 68 years and 245 days. The longest ever time served by an inmate. Think about that for a second.
So let me just try to. So he killed somebody when he was 17 in 1911.
Right.
And then, was found guilty, went through the justice system, went to jail, was in jail until 1980.
So he's 97.
And it served his time and got out.
Yep.
Justice system working as intended, folks. Love it.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So, I can't even begin to imagine that. You're just a kid.
Your life is basically wasted. You wasted the entire opportunity to do anything. At 17,
as soon as you get out, the world is so crushingly different, like culture shock. He probably died immediately as soon as he stepped out.
Well, it made me think of Shawshank Redemption.
Yes, yep, that's what I was thinking. Yep.
I'm sure, he died 7 years later. He had 7 years of freedom, but
wow,
I believe he was 86 when he was released.
Did I do the math wrong?
Yeah, about 10 years.
I did do the math. Yep. I was off by 10.
So yeah,
I'm not a math wizard.
No, it's okay. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought about that. I thought of the Shawshank Redemption guy, 86 years old, been in prison his entire life, and he's released. Stay in, just stay there. What good is this? What do you hope to do? And you're already too far gone at 86 to do much of anything if you've lived completely free your whole life. So God only knows.
And that guy in the movie is the world has gotten so goddamn fast, and he's just like
that's every old person.
Yeah, world got itself in a big damn hurry.
Yes, that's it. And then then he hanged himself. So yeah.
God, I think in 1911 was it 1912? Yeah, he went to prison before the Titanic sank.
Right.
So
were there even cars?
Probably,
right? At least Model Ts.
Yeah, I think.
But still, probably mostly horse-drawn carriages at that point.
I think 1917. I remember somebody telling me there was 2 vehicles in Ohio, and they hit each other.
Well, of course, in Ohio they would. Yeah.
That's according to an Ohio person. That's what they told me.
Yeah, that's wow. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I thought that was very crazy. And the Ohio 2 cars is spot on. On June 1st, 1980, the first 24-hour news channel, cable news network CNN, is launched. No. It would include 23 hours of news programming and 1 hour of Dr. Ruth sex talk and visuals. On July 16th, 1980, former California governor and B-movie actor Ronald Reagan is nominated for U.S. president at the Republican National Convention in Detroit.
Oh, here we go.
It would mark the beginning of the end for the once mighty United States empire. No, but before the Dr. Ruth, you remember Dr. Ruth, the old lady who would talk to you about sex and stuff like that? Real knowledgeable, seemed like a sweet lady, but it was just oddly strange and kind of compelling to watch this old lady, this frail lady, talk about giving blowjobs and the proper way to cup the balls. Yeah, but
she would know, wouldn't she?
Oh, she knows what she's doing.
She's plenty of experience. Yeah,
right.
I trust her.
It's the visual part that I'm not too thrilled with there, I guess. That's probably at a 2 a.m.
Yeah, that I'm gonna have to look up and see what her prop was.
You might have to go to some pretty dark corners of the web to find some dark.
Oh, well, been there, done that.
As an educator, I can tell you that I don't know who you would rather teach sex ed, right? I wouldn't. We're learning it more from each other than we are from probably responsible adults. So
right.
This lady, I think is fine. I'm okay
Oh, yeah.
with it. I wish we had more of it.
Right? And we had like a doctor, not Phil, what's his name? Doctor, he was on MTV, Doctor. I can't remember. He had like silver gray hair. Dr. Drew. There was that show you used to call in like in the 90s, Dr. Drew.
Oh
and
yeah,
something
that was
else.
on Q101, wasn't it? No, that was Loveline,
Loveline, that's it. With
right?
Dr. Drew.
Well,
Loveline with
yeah, it was Dr. Drew. Okay, cool. Yeah. I
Yeah.
listened to that, and yeah,
Yeah.
all sorts of weird shit would come in, and he would just like professionally say like what should or should not be done about any given situation, and
Right.
yeah, it was good.
Yeah. One of the things that I remember, God, I think this is kind of getting off track here, but we'll move on here
Yeah.
after that. But like, someone called in once because they said they were jacking off with like shampoo or something, and it completely like fucked
Ooh.
up their skin.
You
And
don't
their-
want to do
their-
that.
Their
Yeah.
penis balls, the whole thing like swelled up, and it like crusted and flaked off skin. And a
Oh.
guy on I think it was like the Soup E was like talking because it was on Loveline, and it goes and it cuts away, and he's like, oh god, penis flakes, like frosted flakes, oh god, yeah. That's what stuck with me was the joke about frosted flakes, and the
Ugh.
fact. But Dr. Drew told him to use body wash, which makes infinitely more sense. I'm sure it's like within the vicinity of the bathtub that you're in. If you're reaching for the shampoo, there's probably some body wash to go for. Go for that.
I mean, I've made that mistake before, but
Yeah.
not to that extent.
Those radio calls like that, I just want to throw in there. That's another example of a time where they'll use like your first name and last initial, and it doesn't help if your name's LeBron J. Just saying.
God. On August 17th, 1980, in Australia, baby Azaria Chamberlain disappears from a campsite at Ayers Rock, reportedly taken by a dingo. It would later be referenced by Elaine Bennis in an episode of Seinfeld. Maybe the dingo ate your baby. That's where that's from.
Holy shit, really?
Yep.
Okay.
On September 13th, 1980, Elton John plays a free concert for 400,000 people in New York's Central Park. He performs the first encore in a Donald Duck costume and the second encore in the nude. On September 25th, 1980, Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham dies from choking on his own vomit in his sleep. Oddly enough, it was the way he wanted to go. Another person dying of vomit, choking on their own vomit in this, lead singer AC/DC and the drummer of Led Zeppelin, John Bonham, one of the greatest drummers of all time.
Oh, definitely. If you've seen This Is Spinal Tap, they have like a whole goofy conversation about that, because I think they said their drummer died of choking on their own vomit. It's like, well, it's like an open and shut case. You can't dust for vomit.
Do you think it's vomiting due to like substance abuse, or is it like, I mean, because you could vomit for other reasons, like if you overeat or something.
Well, no, it's like you drink way too much alcohol, you pass out, and you vomit like while on your back, and you choke on it.
A lot of these guys too, it wasn't just, they would down alcohol like it was nothing, but they're also taking pills and everything else under the sun.
Oh, that too, yeah.
So it just fucks with it, and then, you may have passed out, but your body's like, I'm gonna puke this shit out. This is toxic.
Exactly.
And you're on your back, so you just choke on your own vomit.
And no one's around to turn you on your side,
right,
for the recovery position, and that's it.
I was just thinking, it's not like they went through their garbage and there was like 3 like large Pizza Hut pizza boxes in there. It's like, oh, this guy just overate.
Got an overeater.
I mean, that will kill you too. But
yeah. He ate so much he puked and choked and died. Damn.
Case closed.
Yeah.
Another Pizza Hut related death.
The Pizza the Hut. On November 4th, 1980. Republican challenger and former Governor Ronald Reagan of California defeats incumbent Democratic President Jimmy Carter and is elected the 40th President of the United States. During his victory speech, President Reagan would ask the crowd repeatedly if they'd seen that new space movie and offered to see if there was something the U.S. could do with NASA to speed up space travel and weaponry. On December 8th, Mark David Chapman is arrested following the murder of musician John Lennon, formerly of the Beatles, outside his New York apartment building, the Dakota. When asked by reporters why he shot and killed John Lennon, Mr. Chapman claimed that he got the inspiration from the book The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Chapman was sentenced to 20 years to life for his crime. He has been denied parole 12 times, first being eligible in the year 2000. Maybe 13th time's a charm. Yeah, and that will do it for our 1980s timeline. But yeah, John Lennon dying. So we got Bon Scott of AC/DC, John Bonham of Led Zeppelin, and John Lennon of the Beatles. Yeah, all in the same year. That's just crazy.
And the American Dream, too.
Right?
With Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Right. Everything does.
I'm ready for Reaganomics.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Trickle them down to you.
It all worked out.
Yeah. The people think of when people talk about where they were, they can remember where they were when they found out the news. John Lennon died. There's a sports. There's Monday Night Football or something. There was a sports game going on, and they got the announcement for it, and the commentators are like, I can't say anything. Well, we can't not say anything. I don't want to give people this news, and we're watching a football game, And he's like, unfortunately, I have the unfortunate news to let you know John Lennon has been killed. And yeah, the massive outpouring of people and just shock, all that. Yeah, it's just crazy. Absolute lunacy. Catcher in the Rye, I don't understand the connection.
I think it was the whole phony thing, I believe.
Yeah, this character in the book that he referenced, they said that he was like a hypocrite, a major hypocrite. And so I think he probably took John Lennon as a hypocrite.
Right.
Something
Which,
along those lines. Yeah.
He kind of was,
Shoot him. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, that's going a little too far with it.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, John Lennon had already met him too earlier in the day. Had already signed
for
the double fantasy.
Autograph.
Yeah. That story is well told. Just a real shock, a sad day for music and people, just in general. So that's how 1980 ended, though, with John Lennon getting shot. So they're off to a good start.
Yes, we are.
All right. Well, that will do it for the timeline of 1980. And we will now move into the movie section of the podcast with the movies of 1980.
I am your father.
Fuck you, asshole.
Inconceivable.
That's right, boys. It's Dr. Venkman.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Nice fucking model! I work for Dick Jones! Dick Jones!
Game over, man. Game over.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Lalima.
Here's Johnny.
And we're going to do the top 10 movies in terms of gross for the year 1980. And number 10 was the movie Ordinary People. Who here's seen Ordinary People?
No.
Who's in it?
I have no idea. No idea.
You have no idea.
Ordinary People.
Ordinary People. Ordinary People. Never seen
Oh, we
it.
don't know.
Yeah. That's so ordinary. No one. It's number 10. We can move straight to number 9. At least there's something to talk about there.
It's got Judd Hirsch and Donald Sutherland and
nice.
Timothy Holton, who sounds like a familiar name.
Yeah.
Adam Baldwin.
Got a
Are
Baldwin.
these like objectively the top 10 movies in 1980 or like by sales?
By sales, terms of gross, top 10 movies in terms of gross.
Shit.
Yeah, 1980.
I don't know this movie, and it was the 10th best movie. Okay.
Yeah.
10th highest grossing movie of 1980. The 9th highest grossing movie of 1980, The Blues Brothers. I've never seen this.
Oh, yeah.
Just going to say that out. Never seen it.
Yes.
So.
And shame on you, Chris, for going your whole life without seeing the fucking Blues Brothers.
Well, I'll tell this. My only no understanding of the Blues Brothers is from my dad growing up. He would tell the story about how he interrupted the filming of the Blues Brothers because he lived in Chicago, and that's where part of the movie was filmed. Maybe not the entire thing, but they had closed off a street and traffic was backed up, and he was annoyed by this, and he knew there was an alley he could take that cut across, so he could get it to the other street. He'd be able to wriggle his way around, and he went through an alley, and all of a sudden he said he came up, goes to turn, and he's got 4 or 5 guys running up to his car, holding out their hands, telling him to stop and turn around. You can't be here. This is a movie scene. We're shooting a movie. it turns out it was the Blues Brothers. So like he said that he stopped shooting for a moment. I was like, oh, that's good. So that's my only Blues Brothers story. So if you guys have one or a favorite scene in that movie or something.
Go ahead, Brad.
Oh, I just want to keep shaming Chris for never having seen it. Really? Like
Okay.
it's I consider it like to me it's like a battle between the Blues Brothers and Ferris Bueller's Day Off for like the quintessential Chicago movie.
Okay.
And I still think I don't know. No, I picked the Blues Brothers definitely. Just
I've seen bits and pieces. Yeah.
Okay. The music is all. It's technically a musical, and it's I don't know. It's so good. All about everything.
I want to pump the brakes just a little bit. I watched it, but I would argue, and my dad would argue this too, because he loves Blues Brothers. But I think it's a what's a good way to put this? It's a part of its time, right? It's certainly today. If you watched it, you would be like, "This is trash."
Oh, okay.
It was so cool, so hip in 1980 in the 80s, but by today's standard, it seems weird. It's like the Tia and Tamara of the 90s. You know, it's like it's like yeah, this was fucking dope in like the 90s and the 80s, but not anymore.
So if you were to
I
go
disagree with that.
If you were to go back and watch it, like, so if you were a fan growing up and you watch it, you're going to love it anyway. If you grew up in the 80s and you loved it and you watch it, you know, all that stuff. But if you've never seen it like me and it's the year 2023 and you go back and watch it,
it's going to be weird.
It's going to be weird. Okay.
Ooh, I don't know. Chris is the experiment then.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have to bring it up in an upcoming podcast and
I'll try and watch it.
It'd be like trying to watch The Wizard of Oz and you've never seen it before, and you're like, "Well, this is weird."
Right?
So
You're like you're not a kid. You're not even of the age. You're just like this. Like say you're like a 40-year-old man who's never even heard of Wizard of Oz, and you want to watch it, and you watch it. You're like, "What the hell is this? It's weird."
Yeah, I just think it was one of the first like real fads or trends in like I don't know, like especially the Chicagoland area.
Oh, I see.
But it does not stand the test of time, in my opinion.
Ooh, man, I don't know. I feel like it does. Like I feel like it's a timeless movie.
Ferris Bueller, his Day Off as a movie is just head and shoulders above it. It's not even. They're not even in the same like.
Ooh, wow. Okay, well.
Well, the thing is, I can't really contribute because I haven't seen one. I've seen the other.
I know, and I don't know how to dispute that. Really, you know, it's just like the music is great. That car chase is fantastic. You got the good old boys. It's just like a great. It is like fantastical at times. Like the Illinois Nazis drive off the end of the freeway and they're like higher than the Sears Tower and they fall down into the ground. Like, there's a lot of goofy shit in that movie.
You can say quotes from Ferris Bueller, though, and people know it's Ferris Bueller. You could say quotes from the Blues Brothers, and people are going to be like, what?
We're on a mission from God.
Yeah, they're not going to know what that's from.
I think they will, though, right? Maybe I'm alone on this. Man, I don't know.
I think maybe, I don't know. Yeah, because maybe nowadays kids and people wouldn't know Blues Brothers. But they probably would know Ferris Bueller. I would say that in that regard. For me, obviously, I know We're on a Mission from God's Blues Brothers. But they've got what's that? We got a full tank of gas. We got a full pack of smokes. We are wearing sunglasses at night. Let's hit it or something like that. There's some like line, and I know that as well. And really, the only scene I can think of from the Blues Brothers, besides like this car chase where they're like running through everything, it's just over the top. Is this? There's some church that they go to, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's like a preacher, and he's like doing flips and like doing all this crazy shit.
Yeah, it's James Brown.
Yeah.
You have all those actual blues musicians. Aretha Franklin's in there, and there's a bunch of others. And
oh, here's a better comparison. You know what? It's kind of like a Jay and Silent Bob. Like
no.
Yeah. Like in terms of like zeitgeist, like how it affected. Yeah, I think so. I think that's a better comparison. Obviously, Jane Silent Bob's not a musical, but it was weird and kind of niche. And I think that's what Blues Brothers. I mean no disrespect to Blues Brothers. I enjoy them. I like the music. I like the movies too. But it's not Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and it's not. It was the 9th highest grossing movie in 1980. If it was so great, I think it would be higher on the list.
All right. You know what? Fair enough. I'm just gonna stop talking about it.
We'll move on now because we'll stay there for a while. I suppose we could pose I think they have like a new feature on YouTube where you can poll like a question for your followers or whatnot. Maybe I'll do like, what's the more 80s quintessential Chicago movie, Ferris Bueller or the Blues Brothers? If you've got an opinion,
it is a question for the ages. Yeah.
Comment below. All right. Number 8, highest grossing movie of 1980. So I guess higher than the Blues Brothers is Smokey and the Bandit 2. Didn't see the first one.
That's saying a lot right there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It's a sequel. I haven't seen the first one. I don't care. I've never wanted to see this movie. It just looks like some hillbilly redneck movie about fast cars, loose women, and beer drinking. I don't give a fuck about any of it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Number 7 highest grossing movie of 1980 is the movie Coal Miner's Daughter, based off a lady who sings that song. I can't think of her name right now. But Tommy Lee Jones plays the character as the husband or the love interest. And the lady who played Carrie in the movie Carrie, Stephen King adaptation, she plays what's her name? Who sings Coal Miner's Daughter? It's gonna drive me nuts. Whoever that is, that's what the movie's about. So, yeah. If I can look it up real quick here.
The Sissy Spacek?
That's the actress.
Loretta Lynn?
Loretta Lynn. That's it. Yeah. So Loretta Lynn. That's the whole movie about Loretta Lynn. And it's got Tommy Lee Jones. That's all I know. Based off of her hit song "Coal Miner's Daughter." Next movie we got highest grossing. 6th highest grossing movie of 1980, Private Benjamin. Don't know what that is. Never even heard of it.
What the fuck is that?
No, I don't know.
Private
Benjamin. News to me. I never even heard of this movie. Number 5 was
Ooh, you know what? I recognize the cover of it, actually.
Who's it star?
I may have seen it. Goldie Hawn. So there you go.
Oh my God, Goldie Hawn.
Yeah, it's her with an army cap on, and it just says Private Benjamin.
Oh my God.
I probably saw it at
She's probably in her prime in 1980.
Probably.
I see the cover now.
Yeah.
She doesn't look like she's in her prime, probably because she's in a war, I would assume. She doesn't look very happy.
Oh, you're right. Kind of grumpy here.
But I probably saw it. I saw it at a Main Street Video in Wanata as a child, I would assume. It just always stuck with me.
All right. That's interesting. Number 5, 5th highest grossing film of 1980, Any Which Way You Can. 5th highest grossing film.
Heard of that movie?
I never heard of that movie either. Or wait, no, you have heard of it. No, I've never heard of it.
I've heard of it.
Any Which Way You Can.
Yep. Any Which Way You Can.
It's got Clint Eastwood.
20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
It's Clint Eastwood and an ape. that's the cover art is. Yeah.
Clint Eastwood and oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's Clint Eastwood with an orangutan. Yeah. Around his shoulder, looking at him lovingly. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
And why is it called Any Which Way You Can? What the fuck?
You want to read? You want to hear the synopsis?
Yeah, yes. Go for it.
Just as an underground bare-knuckle fighter, Philo Bedeau, is about to retire, he is asked by the Mafia to fight East Coast champion Jack Wilson, who has been crippling opponents in his victories.
Ooh.
I don't know where the orangutan comes in.
Yeah, what the fuck? The orangutan does not show up for the cast. So...
No, there's no mention of an orangutan in
it's
the
uncredited role. Oh God! All right.
I kind of want to watch that now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very intriguing. Yeah.
Yeah. Any which way you can, just figure out a way to watch it. Fourth highest grossing film of 1980, the movie Airplane, a classic. A classic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's your vector, Victor? I love that whole.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Huh?
Huh?
What?
Huh? Oh god, the whole thing. And they had a what's her name? I can't remember. It's like the maid from the Brady Bunch or somebody, or maybe it's Mom Brady, the mother. She like talks jive. It's just so random.
Yeah, she's like, I know how to speak jive.
Honest question, because I don't know the answer. This is like a parody of like a different movie, right?
I believe so. It's
Like
an
the
old
like
like
survival.
50s.
Okay.
No, I thought there's another movie that's like the same name. I get them confused because there's
I
another
mean,
one where like the plane crashes in the mountain and they're like they eat each other.
Alive.
Oh,
Alive.
Alive. Yeah.
Is it about
okay.
the same time frame too that came out?
Yes, because the synopsis says this spoof comedy takes shots at the slew of disaster movies that were released in the 70s. So you had Alive, and you had the Towering Inferno, I believe was from the 70s. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Zucker Abrams directed it, and they did like The Naked Gun.
Yeah, 33 and a half, all that
movies.
stuff. Yeah.
All those.
Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
Not Top Gun. Hot Shots.
Hot Shots
they did as well.
Part 2.
Well, it just strikes me as strange because I think like Alive is based on a true story, right?
It is.
You make a spoof of that. Like, holy shit. Like the executives in 1980 just didn't give a shit. They were
No. Those people died and they ate each other. Let's make a spoof on that. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Shirley, you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
And that's one of the most classic lines in any movie.
Yeah, let's
anytime
Leslie Nielsen. He's incredible.
Yeah, and he was known as like a dramatic actor before this movie. Like, this is the one that changed everything. So,
and you got Robert Stack.
Yep.
Unsolved Mysteries guy in the Control Tower. I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's just like nonstop goofy.
It's just it's nonstop slapstick, everything absurdist.
Mm-hmm.
It's just great. Number 3, the top 3 highest grossing film of 1980. Number 3 was Kramer vs. Kramer. I'm pretty sure that stars like Al Pacino or something.
It's like a dramatic courtroom drama thing, right?
I guess. I don't know. I've never seen it. And I'm not sure. I don't think that's the Attica movie. I don't know.
Hoffman,
no, that's
Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman, that's what it is.
You're thinking of Dog Day Afternoon, which is an awesome movie from the 70s, I believe.
What's Kramer vs. Kramer then? Dustin Hoffman and who?
Meryl Streep. It's a drama, legal drama.
Yeah, it's a courtroom drama. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that was top 3. Number 2 was Stir Crazy.
Stir Crazy. I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've never seen it either. Really, the top movie of the year is the one that we can all talk about at length. If we have nothing to say for Stir Crazy, because I don't.
Stir Crazy is a comedy. It's got what's his name from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder's in it. Oh,
nice.
Okay.
It's probably a good movie.
Dude, I have seen this. Richard Pryor.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
They go to jail together, right?
Yeah.
The cover art says Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor dress up as woodpeckers and get framed for robbing a bank.
Yep.
So I'm in.
I never saw that one. Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor had like 3 or 4 movies together, and I saw See No Evil, Hear No Evil, where I don't know which is which, but I think Gene Wilder was the blind guy and Richard Pryor was the deaf guy, and they got into all sorts of wacky adventures together.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I forgot that they did a bunch of buddy comedies together.
Yeah, it was an odd choice, but I mean, See No Evil, Hear No Evil was pretty good.
Yeah,
as I recall.
Well, Stir Crazy was number 2. The number 1 movie of 1980 should be a pretty easy guess, I imagine. Right? Star Wars Episode 5: The Empire Strikes Back. The number 1 movie of 1980.
I mean,
in terms of gross,
that is the best Star Wars movie ever.
Yep, my favorite Star Wars movie ever.
Probably me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like it as a kid because of the whole that slow section where Luke is on a Dagobah or whatever it is,
yeah.
like training with Yoda, which is a very like kind of slow moving part. But fuck, man,
Yeah.
watching it now, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think who directed Ivan Reitman or something?
Yes.
Yeah, he
Yep.
George Lucas came up to him and was like, I guess he said like, yo, I want no, yo Ivan. No, he said, I want you to direct the sequel to the highest grossing film of all time, and if it doesn't succeed, that's the end of Star Wars. That's it. So a lot was riding on. So if this movie sucked and it didn't make as much money or money at all, really, that could have been the end of Star Wars. But no, as we all know, he managed to not only make it, he made a much better movie than Lucas probably ever could have made. So, yeah,
I don't think it was Ivan Reitman.
Who was it then?
Irvin Kershner.
Yes,
Kershner,
there
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, that's it.
Because
Reitman did Ghostbusters.
This is an all-time favorite movie to watch when I was pretending to be sick from school. This movie.
Yeah.
It was always on VHS, no matter where I was. And,
Right.
And it's a great movie. So
yeah.
watch it a lot.
Do you have any favorite lines from Star Wars, favorite scenes, like an all-time favorite scene from Star Wars Episode 5?
I loved Darth Vader just like force choking like everyone who like fucked up.
Yeah.
Because then some other guy's like, all right, I'm moving up in the department. the guy above me just got force choked.
Well, I would say the battle for Hoth right at the beginning is
Hoth fantastic. Is a great opening. Yeah.
It's an interesting movie because it sort of starts strong and then there's kind of a lull in the middle and then it ends strong. So it's not like it's not a masterpiece, I don't think, but it is a very good movie. It's the best Star Wars movie.
It was the first one to introduce the Imperial March, the dun 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 dun, which really, was played every time the fucking Star Destroyers were shown.
Right. Did that song didn't play in the first movie? I don't remember that.
Nope, it did not. No.
Interesting. I don't recall ever. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, fucking John Williams was like, "Oh shit, I got to step up my game. This is like going to be a thing now." So.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. One of the things that always stuck out to you it's right in the beginning of the movie, when Luke gets caught out in the cold and Han finds him, and he's got to keep him warm, so he takes out Luke's lightsaber and cuts open his whatever creature that is, and the guts,
llama or whatever,
the guts that show when they open. Oh god, that always grossed me out as a kid.
Oh, it looked like like creamed rice or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell that was. Yeah, it looked like
this something weird.
What the hell was that creature called? It was like a yak or something. I don't know.
That sounds about right.
Sure.
I mean, other than that, the battle between Darth Vader and Luke at the end, that's classic. That scene where he's standing like above, like right where Han got frozen, and Luke's like below him. That's so iconic.
Where he's this is the big reveal too. I am your father.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spoiler.
Right.
Yes, spoiler alert for a
33
ancient
years old.
movie. Yeah.
43 years old.
Oh yeah. That's when Luke like falls down into the carbonite chamber and then he like flies up out of it. And he's like, impressive, most impressive.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Because he was fighting before him, and he's like, perhaps the Emperor was wrong. You're not as strong as you actually are, or you seem, or something. And then he flies out of there, and all that stuff.
Yep.
At the end, after he gets his hand cut off, spoiler, he falls down that tunnel. He just manages to land in that tube. And,
he gets sucked into a tube. Yeah,
trash, whatever the hell it is, and he loses his lightsaber that is recovered later. Don't worry, in The Force Awakens. Although somehow, they don't let you know.
Hey, don't worry about it.
He's hanging when he falls through, right, and his legs catch on that antenna thing. That always like, oh god, that whole. I'm afraid of heights, so the whole thing freaked me out. Yeah, as a kid. So,
well, yeah, of course. If you're afraid of heights, it's like that's a fall to hell, basically. Yeah,
right.
You're done for. It was a fall to hell. It was a fall to hell when he first fell off because it's like an infinite, like chasm that he fell down into, and got sucked into a fucking like water slide.
His first introduction to Yoda too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh yeah. It's a fantastic movie. Yeah.
Using puppetry, Frank Oz. I think he
Yep.
voiced Yoda, Jim Henson's, all that stuff. Great puppetry. Yeah, and then they would eventually switch to like CGI, like 30 years later.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But the greatest Star Wars movie of all time, hands down. One of the best movies ever.
First time AT-AT walkers too, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
Like
so
the
much.
coolest weapon.
Well, yeah, AT-ATs and ATSTs.
Yeah.
I believe ATSTs were also there. Yeah.
And this is. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, Darth Vader's like weird like chamber.
Oh right,
Like
yeah.
you see him without his helmet on from the back. It's like, oh shit, this is just like some like fucked up looking guy, like bald guy, and you see the helmet, like, the chamber opens and you see his helmet come down and go like shook back onto his head, and
Oh yeah.
it's like, holy fuck, that's
Well,
the man underneath.
that's the problem with that. People saw that and like, no way, that's the man. That voice is too deep. That's James Earl Jones. And some crusty white dude is underneath that. No fucking way. So yeah.
Well, in
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, as we'll get to, yeah, it was some crusty white dude.
Right. At the time, that's what people didn't. That movie hadn't come out yet, so they see this and they expected to see a brother, and they see this crusty like.
Well,
Yeah.
he has like
Yeah.
a voice changer, maybe,
Yeah,
make
who
his
knows?
voice sound more badass.
Probably the robot lungs. I don't know.
Mhm.
All right. Well, that will do it for top 10 movies in terms of gross for 1980. We'll move on now to personal film selections. For me, I'm going to start with. Let's go from the bottom up. Caddyshack. Recommend the movie Caddyshack if you haven't seen it. 1980. Great soundtrack. Great supporting cast characters. Bill Murray's hilarious in that movie.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember, the Dookie scene where it's just like a candy bar.
Yeah,
and,
it's a lot of that humor, 80s humor. Kind of.
And that one comedian.
college-esque.
How come I can't think of his name?
What, Rodney Dangerfield?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's in there too.
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield's in it. Chevy Chase is in it.
Mhm.
All that stuff. I remember the what's this guy's name? He did the Danger Zone for Top Gun. Oh, what's his name? Fuck.
Nope.
Oh, well.
I'm looking at some of these movies from 1980 that weren't on that list, and I'm amazed. Actually, I know you've probably got them on your list, but my God,
We'll see. There's one movie on my personal film selections. I almost put in worst movies, but I decided to put it in personal film selections because I think I might get too much hate. If I
Kenny
put it in worst.
Loggins.
Kenny Loggins, that's what it is. Yeah. So Kenny Loggins, his the "I'm All Right" song,
Oh yeah.
I'm all right. Yeah, that song. So that's in Caddyshack. I like that. Move on now to this movie got released at the end of 1980, but still in 1980. One of a classic, a Martin Scorsese film, I believe, Raging Bull. Raging Bull. Yeah.
Never saw it.
recently watched that during a hamburger movie night for the first time, and it was good.
What? But please explain what a hamburger movie night is.
Hersefat can explain.
Where we get together and we watch like goofy movies, sometimes bad movies. Most time it's bad. Sometimes it's so bad for so long we have to watch a good movie to
that we've not all seen.
To watch the taste out of our mouths.
To like cleanse your palate. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's always movies that we've not all seen. But
right.
Sometimes that's a good movie that we just all missed.
There are some exceptions that you can make, like if there's a particularly bad movie that's an all-time classic that somebody hasn't seen, and like everyone else has seen, we might make a okay for this one time. But typically, yeah, we like to keep it where we have never seen it at all.
Gotcha.
We'll move on now to another personal film selection of 1980, Mad Max. Mad Max came out in 1980 with Mel Gibson, and yeah, I've never seen it.
I don't think I never have either, but man, I loved Fury Road.
Yeah, Fury Road was good. It actually made me
It's
interested.
very different. Well, okay.
Yeah.
The costumes and the setting are very similar because it's all just deserts and cars, but like it's so quiet, the old ones. Like that's the first thing that's so jarring about like Fury Road is everything's so loud and hyped up and there's just gasoline and vibrations and crazy shit. All
and fire.
And then the old ones, it's damn near a silent film. Like it's just Mel out there kind of walking in the desert.
That sounds really good, actually.
Yeah.
I should really watch that.
Give that a shot. Another personal film selection for me in 1980, a movie called Altered States, which is interesting. I watched this movie once, and I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't terrible. It was better than I expected it to be. This guy goes into a what do they call it? It's like a depth perception. It like messes with your depth perception tank. It's a tank you get into that's like filled with like water.
Yes, a sensory deprivation check.
Yeah, so
tank. Yeah,
he takes a heroic dosage of psilocybin and goes into the sensory deprivation, whatever it is, the tank, and he comes out devolved into like an ape because he's like somehow managed to like revert our evolution. And it's interesting. Yeah, it's an altered. It's got a bunch of, I don't know, funky science behind it, but it wasn't bad. It's like one of the few movies I'd ever seen that was like a pro psychedelic drug use sort of deal. Although you wouldn't be hard pressed to say that because the guy does get turned into an ape. All right,
right on.
Another one we've got The Elephant Man, Carl Pilkington's favorite movie ever. With Anthony Hopkins.
Yep, I've never seen it, despite it being a David Lynch movie.
Yeah, you think you would have?
I think I would have. Apparently, it's like one of his more like normal movies.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
I've seen the clip where it's like, it's Joseph Merrick. He's all like, I am not an animal. I am a man.
I'm a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the nice penguin on Batman Return, his spin on that. I am not a human. I am an animal.
Yep.
Yeah. All stuff. But got three more here. Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th.
I can't believe that didn't crack the top 10. That's amazing.
Yeah, did not crack the top 10. Was that the movie you were going to mention, Esteban?
It was one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you being sarcastic or no? Because I think it's a fantastic movie.
I'm not. I'm being real. I thought it would have been in the top 10. Yeah. I mean, it's it turned into a 20 movie franchise or something.
Yeah, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah.
Well, I think
it's great. I love
the,
Friday the 13th.
Yep, the original is awesome.
What stuck out to me, obviously, is the twist ending that the killer is not Jason but the mom.
Right. Yep.
And then that
spoiler.
Spoiler, right? Another spoiler. At the very, very end, when she that Jason jumps out of the water and grabs the girl when she's like dreaming or whatever. That jump scare there at the end was like the first time that ever happened, and so that got used over and over and over again by all the other people that are trying to copy Friday the 13th. You see all these jump scares like that at the end of the movie. That's why you got it. So yeah.
Yes, it's pretty great.
Let's see. Personal film selections. I got two more here. Debating which one I mentioned first. Let's mention this one first. All right. Probably the best movie of 1980, if maybe 1A. I mean, there's Star Wars Episode 5, and then this movie. And that movie is The Shining.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew you were going to mention it. That's got to be. Of course.
Yeah.
It is. It is very good.
I mean, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. I watch it at least once a year.
Yeah,
I have been for the past like 20 years of my life. Like, my dad had it recorded off a TV on a VHS tape. And like, just, man, I've watched it so much since I was probably like 6 years old. I don't know.
Just a little bit young, but yeah.
Oh, it is. But it was edited for TV, so it was okay.
Okay. You guys ever watch the made for TV one? The made for TV, The Shining? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that. Yeah. Fuck that movie. Like that's nothing.
I guess it had more to do with the books than this movie did, but this movie is infinitely better.
But that's why it's called Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Right.
Like, it was his interpretation.
Well, is there any... I mean, it's probably going to be hard, but can you just pick a scene that you think of The Shining? This one sticks out to you right away.
I mean, okay, it's when it's Jack Torrance is just, like, head down, eyes up, staring blankly into nothing. And it's just that slowly zooming onto him, and it's just like the music is just that high pitched, and he's just like staring. Yeah, like that's.
Is that when Wendy and
terrifying
Danny are in the maze and he's like watching them?
No, that's some other time.
Okay.
That's just him just having a day, just staring off into space.
Esteban?
Man, yeah, it's so good.
I have a hard time picking a scene, but like, I mean, even the opening credits, like the music and the winding road. Oh my gosh. Like it just starts out and it's just very well shot, very well directed, written. I think Jack Nicholson makes the movie, of course. I don't know. I don't know what that movie would even look like with somebody else. Like, so
I wonder if there was anybody else going to play Jack Torrance aside from.
Man,
Jack
I hope not.
I wonder who was in the running.
But yeah, Esteban, you talk about those opening credits. Yeah, it's like fluorescent or neon blue text going up, and yeah, the music is
Bum, bum, bum,
yeah, it's just like holy fucking shit.
And I don't know like how to describe this either, but like as far as Stephen King film adaptations go, like this doesn't have like the monsters or the gore. I mean, there is a lot of blood in one scene. We all know what we're talking about, but like,
right.
I don't know. It's scary, but it's like isolation is the real monster.
Yes. Yep.
Right. And
that's
what really is kind of cool about it.
Yeah, it's like atmospheric and it's just dread. Like you just feel it like imposing on you as you watch this movie. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I love it.
So the scene I'm gonna pick is the scene that I can't watch to this day. I just look away. I don't bother. I know what's happening. I'll focus on something else. But I don't watch
it. Is it the blowjob scene?
No,
it's the guy in the bear suit with the blowjob.
No, I watched that on slow motion. But no, the scene that I'm talking about is when Danny gets attacked and Wendy's like, Jack, someone's in the hotel, Jack, out of the room. No, Wendy, there ain't anybody there. And he goes to the door and he sees in the bathtub, he sees this woman and she's naked and he's just like, oh, and his woman gets out of the bathtub, slowly walks towards him, and it's always in a mirror. There's something to do with mirrors. When he looks in the mirror, he sees what the reality is. So like they do that throughout the movie, I think, or Stanley Kubrick does it. And he looks in the mirror and the woman's just rotten and moldy and old. And she and she's like that laugh.
Yep.
Is so freaking scary and terrifying and gross, and I cannot watch that scene to save my life.
Yeah, because it's like this crusty old naked lady.
Yes.
Like just
that cackle
coming at him, and oh yeah. Man, but one of the funniest scenes. Yeah, you didn't quite quote it right. Yeah, she's like, Jack, someone in the apartment, because he's been sitting at the bar drinking like ghost whiskey or whatever. And he's just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That is good. That's really good. Yeah.
There's unintentionally funny stuff in
well, that. And I was gonna say the unintentionally. I don't know if it's intentional or not. His when he dies frozen, like he just looks so fucking.
Oh yeah. Or when when Danny comes back and he's like he's been beaten or whatever, and. Well, Wendy picks him up and she's all like, you did this. And Jack's just sitting there like, huh? Like he just has this look on his face like, what? What did I do? Like, yeah. Wendy, I'm going to bash your fucking brains in.
It's so good.
Bash him right in.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep, bash him right in.
Yeah. And he's like, Wendy, sweetheart, love of my life.
Like, yep. God, man, I want to watch this movie.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, it's so good, and I think he made her do that scene like 100 times.
And
Kubrick.
Yeah. Kubrick purposely like
he tortured her,
fucked with her, and tortured her to make her cry, and that's how.
Yeah. That's
how you get Kubrick, I guess.
That's how you get those scenes. So.
Yep.
All right. We have one more personal film selection for 1980. Any guesses? If not, I'll just throw it at 3, 2.
Amadeus? Was that
Amadeus?
1980?
I didn't see
Xanadu.
it. Xanadu didn't. I didn't see either one. Flash Gordon. Flash. The soundtrack
Oh yeah, with the
by
Queen soundtrack. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That almost made my worst movies because have you seen that movie? I mean, there's campy and then there's really campy. Nick
I think
hates this fucking movie. Hates it. I tried to get him to
Chris-
watch it.
You, me, and Timmy went to your house, like your parents' house, and we watched Flash back in the day. And I think I fell asleep or something. I don't know.
I think Nick was with us too. I know he watched it once with us at the house in La Crosse, and John was like, "Oh, Flash Gordon, would you like it?" Nick fucking hated that movie. What? Fucking hate that movie. Nick hates Flash Gordon probably as much as he hates the Little Rascals.
But that Queen soundtrack, though,
Right.
man.
Oh yeah.
Flash.
Bum bum. He
Save every one of us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's got like the flying bird people. There's a scene where there's like this.
I don't remember
princess
any of the movie.
Sits on Flash Gordon's lap, and it caused all sorts of issues in my nether region. I was like, "What the hell's going on here?" And I was
Whoa.
just like, "Yeah." It was like my first experience with anything like that, and it didn't come till years later. I realized I was like, "Oh, I guess I could have found out what my sexual orientation was at that point. I guess had I had any clue, you know." So, it was I don't know. It's very campy. It's obviously based on a comic book, but I mean, it's got a great soundtrack. If you're in a right mood, it's a fun movie. But if you're not, it's a really shitty movie. So you just gotta make sure you're well prepared, I should say. But yes, we will now move into unless
I had one more.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And it's not very well known, but I have watched it, and you can watch it today on Peacock or Prime. It's called The Final Countdown, starring Martin Sheen, actually. And the basic premise is, if you like sci-fi, this is a good like early 1980 sci-fi movie. But aircraft carrier from 1980 travels back in time to Pearl Harbor like December 6th, 1941.
Oh.
And has to decide whether or not it wants to intervene with jets. And there is a scene where like 1980s like Tomcat jets do fight Japanese Zeros. It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
That sounds like a Star Trek. Like, do you want to violate the Prime Directive or not?
Oh man.
But yeah, it's worth a watch.
Yeah,
it's pretty short.
Yeah, I'll put that down in my personal film selections. The Final Countdown.
Yep.
All right. We'll move now to worst movies of 1980. I've only got 4 here. I'm gonna name them off here. Pinocchio's Christmas. I've got that down as one of the worst movies. I believe that's a live action. Yeah, pretty terrible. I've got
bad.
Popeye, the Robin Williams flop.
Oh shit, I remember that. Yeah, Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall as Olive Oil. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, Robin Williams is great, fantastic job with the imitations and all that jazz, but it just didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, he couldn't carry it. Yeah.
No, it's just not a very good movie. So, I've got The Blue Lagoon, which was a movie that absolutely could be made today. It starred Brooke Shields and some other guy. It's about 2 kids who are stranded alone on an island by themselves, and eventually, like, they're wearing like next to nothing. She's like 14 at the time. She has to go through her, the puberty and growing up, and they discover that stuff together. Then they discover other things together. And this is just one movie of basically, it's almost like an hour and a half long of like almost child porn, almost in certain areas. You can totally see that. Yeah, it's really weird. It's a really strange movie.
The synopsis says 7-year-old cousins.
Oh yeah, they're also cousins. Yeah.
No, apparently, Richard survive a shipwreck, find themselves marooned on a beautiful island under the tutelage of a fellow castaway, Patty Burton. Okay, so Patty dies. Now adolescent Emmeline and Richard. Oh, okay, so it is kissing cousins. Oh man.
And more than that, this fucking cousins.
Oh yeah, are on their own to discover sex, love, and loneliness in a tropical paradise. Oh shit.
Yeah. And it's not even a French movie. It doesn't make any. Yeah. So The Blue Lagoon.
What the fuck?
Could not make that today. Bring that to port. We got a movie, guys. It's great. So shipwreck. Oh, we like Castaway. Yeah, fantastic. All right. They're with someone else, 2 kids. All right. Then the adult dies. Oh, nice struggle. Yeah, but then they're also cousins. Oh, so nice. It's a family bonding. Yeah. Then they really bond. They really bond, and things get weird. Yeah. So the Blue Lagoon, one of the worst movies, maybe the worst movie of 1980, and my last.
It does have an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Yeah.
yes.
And I'm curious to see what this next one, my last pick for worst movies of 1980. And that movie is Oh God, Book 2. It's where George Burns plays God. In the first movie, it was George Burns and John Denver. I know he was in that movie. But yeah, I almost made a joke about this because George Burns died in like 1999 or 98. And I almost threw a joke in the timeline about God dying. But nobody would have gotten it because I don't think anybody here knows that George Burns played God in a movie with John Denver. Did anybody know that?
I recall seeing that VHS cover, right? Isn't it just like the letter O and then God,
and
then,
oh,
then
God.
a picture of George Burns,
the smiling face, looking like
yeah. Never watched it. Oh, Carl Reiner did it though, so
yeah. The first one was pretty good. The second one, not so much. First one won like awards, I think.
Yeah, John Denver. Yeah, huh.
But yeah, that will do it for.
So this is the sequel.
Yes,
okay.
This is book 2.
Interesting.
Those will do it for my worst movies of 1980. Thanks, guys. We'll move on now to the music section of the podcast with music of 1980. And for music in 1980, the albums that went number 1 in 1980. Let's just start from the bottom here. John Lennon and Yoko Ono's Double Fantasy went number 1.
Double Fantasy.
It was released a few weeks before his death and immediately went number 1, obviously, after he died. I mean, that one's got a lot of his classic hits that we know today. It's the last album he did.
Does it?
I believe so. Double Fantasy.
I'm not recognizing any of these songs.
Or maybe I'm thinking of a different album then. Let me try and see here, because I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Wasn't like a Jealous Guy on that, or am I thinking something else?
I don't know. Is that a hit song? Because I don't recall that.
Oh yeah, that was a hit song. Yeah. Let's see.
There is no Jealous Guy, I don't think. I'm looking at it.
Beautiful Boy.
Just like starting over.
I think that's the one about
Beautiful
his son.
Yeah. Watching the Wheels. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, Watching the Wheels. Beautiful Boy, Darling Boy. That's the one where it's just like, it's in the movie. Oh God, Mr. Holland's Opus. He sings it to his son, who's deaf, and he signs languages to him. Beautiful Boy.
Watching the Wheels, though, that's
like I'm
yeah,
just sitting
I think
here
I know
watching
that
the
song.
wheels go round and round.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah, that's the one. So that's off of Double Fantasy. Yeah, people say I'm crazy. Do what I do. Yeah. John Lennon, Yoko Ono, Double Fantasy, number 1 album, one of the number 1 albums of 1980. Jackson Browne, Hold Out, was a number 1 album of 1980. Bruce Springsteen's The River was a number 1 album of 1980. Queen's The Game was a number 1 album of 1980. That's
that
the one
was
with
them getting into arena rock stuff, right?
I'm looking up The Game right now. See if I know any of these songs.
Oh, you will. Another one, Bites the Dust.
Oh yeah.
Crazy Little Thing Called Love.
Oh yeah, I can sort it by plays. Yep. Those are the two big ones.
Yep. All right. I had to fix it. Sorry about all that. Yeah, crazy little thing about love. So that was like one of the bigger ones. Queen's the Game. I was basically out for that whole one. In the background.
Anybody want to guess how many times Another One Bites the Dust has been played on Spotify?
53 million.
1 billion.
1.4 billion times.
Damn. Okay.
And that's just on this album. If it was remastered or something, that's probably more.
Right. Damn. All right. Well, number one album, another one of 1980, The Rolling Stones with Emotional Rescue. Another
should really done research on this.
No, it
like what?
I don't think there's really anything.
I don't recognize any of the songs. So
yeah. I don't. This is the issue. I don't really. It's 1980. There's a few good albums. Don't get me wrong. But on the whole, most of the stuff is not even referenced nowadays. It's completely forgotten. A lot of people, when you talk about the Rolling Stones, they don't talk about their great 80s decade.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Billy Joel Glass Houses. It's a classic Billy Joel album.
Yeah, that had it had something on it that I recognized.
It's still rock and roll to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Yeah.
That's all you needed back in 1980. Another top album or album that went number one in 1980, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Against the Wind, which has the song obviously Against the Wind on it, I believe, amongst others. But the classic album, you see that on Spotify or YouTube Music from time to time. I think I'm trying to think what else is on that album. But yeah, it's good. I mean, Bob Seger and the Silver. It's an oddly named band. I've always thought the Silver Bullet Band, like they're against werewolves or something. So they are rather hairy individuals. I don't know, but Bob Seger, I've heard worse. And the last album that went number one in 1980, Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Oh man,
yeah,
I love that. I love that album.
So I think that's kind of why I've been kind of like glossing over things, because there are the albums that we do know we're going to be talking about for a little bit.
I mean, man, the Wall was a departure, because The Wall was like a concept album. It was kind of like an arena rock album.
Yeah.
In ways, and it's about a rock star named Pink, his like rise and fall, and all of his like drug addictions, and then he builds the wall around him, which also it's like a metaphor for the Berlin Wall. And I mean, it has one of my favorite guitar solos in Comfortably Numb in it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, that song alone should be winning every award known to man.
And that guitar solo, you look up like the guitar tab if you're a guitar player, it's like, oh, that looks easy. It's all just pentatonic, but somehow David Gilmour makes it incredible.
Precise bending, the control that he has is phenomenal. And the ability to basically put emotion into the bending of a string, and it's not easy to do. You basically, I don't know if you can just be taught to do it, or if it's just something you can do. I don't know how that works out. But
I don't know either. But
I mean, just an all-time classic album. Just made like the top 200 albums.
I mean,
it was staying on a list for forever and a day, like the Dark Side of the Moon.
What's interesting, I'm looking at the plays for it on Spotify, and like, whereas we just looked at the Queen album, I forgot the name of it. This one, every song is like in the millions played on the whole 2 discs. You know what I mean? Like, whereas people just played those 2 songs or 3 songs that they wanted to hear. This one, everything's in the millions.
The Wall you listen to all the way through. You like get high or whatever you want to do, and then you just listen to The Wall. And man, I mean, just like In the Flesh, like the first song, it's like, so ya thought, what does he say? So you thought you might like to go to the show.
Yeah.
It's just such a great opener.
I love what is it? Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, I think. It's Part 2.
Well, yeah. That's
the one
That's
stereo.
the most played.
That's the
But see, I like Another Brick in the Wall Part
Part
1.
one.
It's like more
Yeah.
laid back. It's it's like the same, but it's just like, yeah, Daddy's flown across the ocean. It's like all twinkly guitar, and
I just love that the guitar part where it's like dun 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 dun, like that rhythm that he does. Eleanor is just another brick in the dun dun dun.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I think
And
it's
that-
Goodbye
sweet
Blue
guitar
Sky.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Is that the one with the woman who just belts the whole time?
No, you're thinking of the Great Gig in the Sky from
that's what I'm thinking
that's from Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Different album.
My confusion
Hey, you're
there.
good, man. Don't worry.
But I love that song too.
Oh, yeah,
That
that
song
song's-
she goes off, dude. It's great.
There's a live. If you like that version, still Esteban, there's a live version from 1994 where they have like 3 different women that it's really really good, really good. Can't remember what it's called though. Obviously, it's a Great Gig in the Sky, but just do live
Right.
Great Gig in the Sky 1994. It's off the what's that album? Epic? Not Epic. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of the name of the album that Pink Floyd released. That's their live album. It came out in 90.
Oh, Pulse?
Pulse, maybe Echo, maybe Pulse.
No, not Echoes. A Momentary Lapse of Reason.
I think it is
live
Pulse.
Pink Floyd.
I think it is Pulse. Yeah.
Because that was after Pink Floyd had broken up, and it was just like David Gilmour and the rest of the guys, Richard Wright, and I can't think of the drummer's name.
Yeah, it's Pulse Live. That's the album. So Pulse Live has that live version of Great Gig in the Sky is fantastic. Totally recommend checking that out.
1995. Yeah,
95.
But yeah. The Wall is, man, and then the trial at the end. At the very end of it, it's good day, a worm, your honor. The crown will plainly show the prisoner who now stands before you, and it's like him on trial, and it's like this goofy like orchestral song, and oh my god. And then it ends like super heavy, like it turns into like a heavy metal song when the judge comes in, and oh yeah, it's great. It's just great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We will now move into personal album picks of 1980. I mean, Pink Floyd, The Wall was obviously on there, but it also made #1, so I put it in that. My personal album picks of 1980. I'm going to start off with Motorhead, Ace of Spades. It's the Ace of Spades.
Oh yeah, you love that song.
Yeah, I mean that's legitimate. That's good metal. That's classic metal stuff.
I got another personal album pick of 1980. Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz came out in 1980.
Blizzard of Oz. Yeah, that was his first solo album. Yeah.
Yep.
Got Crazy Train. You got
yeah.
Suicide Solution. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
Right.
Not as good as Black Sabbath, but
well, you take what you get. 1980. Another personal album pick of 1980. AC/DC, Back in Black. That album came out in 1980. I mean,
hit the sack. Been so long. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a classic hard rock album. I mean, You Shook Me All Night Long.
It's like every of their biggest hits are all on that album, basically.
Yeah.
And
it's really good.
As much as I don't like AC/DC, I still admit that's a good album. It's gonna make my personal album. You should definitely listen to that album. Another one I got David Bowie's Scary Monsters and Super Creeps.
Oh shit! Scary monsters, super freaks. Is that the one with the ashes on it?
Super Creeps. That's another personal album pick of mine. I got a handful of them, I guess.
Well, hold on. I gotta see what's on Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Where's the goddamn?
Where's the track
Ashes
list?
Ashes the Ashes. Yeah, that's in fashion. Excellent. Bowie's song. Yeah, dude, I love David Bowie. So yeah, excellent album.
Another personal album pick of 1980 for me. You got Dead Kennedys, Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables has their Holiday in Cambodia, and California Uber Alice. It's that classic punk album. I've got oh, go on.
I was never. I'm just not into like that kind of punk music, but I always found like the guitar playing on that album. I think probably all Dead Kennedys albums just to be very strange and interesting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like it wasn't just like four chords.
No.
He did like weird solo stuff and.
Guitar Hero, is it, or Guitar Hero 2?
You can play Holiday in Cambodia. Holiday in Cambodia.
Had Holiday in Cambodia.
Holiday, yes.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Yeah. So I figured I had to throw that in there. The Dead Kennedys, Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables, a personal album pick. Another personal album pick, Genesis Duke. Chose the Genesis album. Got a couple good songs on there that I like. Misunderstanding. Fun. That's one that
I'm not familiar with.
They usually play when a hockey player takes a penalty and it's the home team. He gets sent to the box. They usually play There Must Be Some Misunderstanding. Little cheeky stuff that they do. Couple good stuff. Couple good songs off that. We got Rush's Permanent Waves. Another personal album pick of 1980. Yes,
I totally forgot that's Spirit of Radio, right?
Yep. Fantastic album.
And I think there's probably some others that I quite enjoy, maybe. Free Will. Free Will is awesome. Entrenous or whatever. Just between us. I think it's time we should recognize.
Yep.
However it goes, great song.
Oh yeah. I think the last track is like 4 parts or something like that? 3 parts?
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes long, in 3 parts. Yep.
Got a couple more personal album picks in 1980. Tom Waits, Heart Attack and Vine. Another personal album pick of 1980. And
I fucking love Tom Waits. Man, I should have really known ahead of time. Oh, yeah, Jersey Girl.
Yep. Probably one of my favorite.
Before Bruce Springsteen covered it.
Right.
Don't down the corner, boy. Yep. I can't do Tom Waits, but
I can't do it either without killing my voice. Yeah, Nick to get in here to do it. And I got one more personal album pick from 1980. After this, if you feel free to mention if you have one that I didn't. And this one is Iron Maiden's debut album, Iron Maiden. So yeah, those are my personal album picks of 1980.
Oh, Gaucho by Steely Dan.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. Blizzard of Oz, Ace of Spades. I mean, Remain in Light by the Talking Heads.
Yeah, we talked about that. That's but
I think you'll get into the hit song from that. So.
Yeah.
Besides that, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah,
we're gonna get now to the worst albums of 1980. And we're going to start off with the Village People, Can't Stop the Music. The album Can't Stop the Music from the Village People.
Oh, no.
Apparently you can. So I don't know what the hell they were talking about. I don't know if they made another album after this. I don't even remember them being beyond the 70s. So the fact that it was 1980, it was just at the end of disco. So we have the Beach Boys, Keeping the Summer Alive, the album Keeping the Summer Alive by the Beach Boys. Another worst album of 1980. We have Bryan Adams' debut album, Bryan Adams. I'm just gonna throw that on there. Bryan Adams might be the guy who receives the blunt of my hate.
Okay, hold. All right, stop the podcast. Another great album, personal pick. British Steel by Judas Priest.
That's
from 1980.
Yeah,
it's got Breaking the Law and Living After Midnight on it.
Yes. Breaking the law.
Yeah, that's just classic metal stuff. So,
all that shit reminds me of Timmy with his little leather gloves with like the metal studs that he'd wear.
Driving his green Pontiac Grand Prix or whatever the fuck, filled with empty Pepsi Max bottles. Yeah. I've been there.
I just do that Born to Raise Hell. He just blasted. He'd blow his fucking speakers and scream, "Born to Raise Hell!" And just like, this guy driving his Grand Prix with no brakes, using the using the e-brake to stop. Yeah. He's a delivery driver. He was a fucking delivery driver.
Well, you'd have to be a little crazy to be a delivery driver.
Yes. But yes, we'll move, continue now with the worst albums of 1980. Bryan Adams' debut album, Bryan Adams. Gonna continue to harass him for the rest of the decade.
What was on was
nothing.
Bryan Adams didn't he do I can see you.
No, that's Don Henley from the Eagles.
That's another one of them.
Yeah, that's okay. Don Henley from the Eagles.
That's the Eagles. Okay.
Yeah, Bryan Adams did the Summer '69.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
I think I get those guys all mixed up.
And the reason I dislike Bryan Adams so much is because of was it him or was it fuck it? Who does the Jack and Diane song?
Oh, it's John Mellencamp.
Oh, it's John. I also hate him.
Yeah. See, all these
the
guys
same.
get mixed up.
They're the same. But Bryan Adams does do Summer '69, and I hate that song too. So it's fair game.
Fair enough.
All right.
I don't know. I'm holding off on the hate because I know where the 80s are going. Right. We know what the 89 looks like, right? And there's just more to hate.
Oh, there is.
At that point.
My worst. I only have 5 albums for worst albums. And I had to do some stretching. I have 2 more albums to mention actually. You'll see what I'm talking about here. Worst album 1980, one of them. The Chipmunks, Chipmunk Punk, where they took punk music and just, made them into chipmunk voices. The hit was My Sharona, where it's like that high pitch. I can't do it. Oh God, yeah.
I know what I'm playing next time I go to a bar.
It's fucking awful. Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna love you. Close that place down. It might even catch fire.
I need a seat. When I need a seat,
somebody will burn it down while it's playing.
And the last worst album of 1980, Kiss Unmasked, when they had Kiss take off their paint mask and all that stuff, and just be just 4 guys, and they didn't even have Peter Criss with them. I think he had already left the band by then, so it was 3 of the original members of Kiss with no makeup on, just playing music. Kiss Unmasked, one of the worst albums of 1980.
Yeah. Well, after Kiss had gotten rid of their makeup, they did have like kind of what was that song they had? That was like kind of like a disco song. Was pretty catchy.
I hate Kiss so much I couldn't even tell you.
I'm looking at Unmasked and I don't recognize any of the songs on it, and it does have a very, very bad rating. So
it's terrible.
Yeah, just forget about it.
All right, we will now move on to top songs of 1980. Top songs of 1980. One of the top songs of 1980 was Blondie, Call Me. You know that one?
Call Me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2. Already talked about that.
Of course. We don't need no education. Yeah.
We move on to Olivia Newton-John, Magic. I listened to this song and I heard it before in my life. Not good, terrible, just really bland, boring.
Is that from Xanadu?
It might be. It might be. But it's just.
I know give Xanadu more love on this.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. We should all watch it.
Watch Xanadu. Make it a hamburger movie night. Because I've never seen it. Michael Jackson's "Rock with You." It's another song in 1980.
Rock with you. I don't know.
It's like I wanna rock with you, something like that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I know.
That's not helping.
Nope, probably doesn't help me. Queen's "Crazy Little Thing Called Love." That was the top song of 1980.
That is a great song. So
we've got Lips Inc. "Funky Town" was a top song of 1980. Funky Town came out in 1980.
Take me to Funky Town song.
Yep, that's the one.
Wow. Okay. All right on.
Won't you take it to? I think it was I can't remember what joke I used it for, but it was some timeline joke where the country changed their name from something to something else to finally Funky Town, and that was it. Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 came out in 1980. Dolly Parton, 9 to 5. They made a movie called 9 to 5. Yeah. Working 9 to 5. Something.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got nothing against that.
No, Dolly Parton's awesome. Billy Joel, "It's Still Rock and Roll to Me." Another top song of 1980.
Yeah. He had better stuff in the 70s.
For sure.
Much better stuff.
Just like Elton. Another top song of 1980, Rupert Holmes' "Escape," the Pina Colada song. If you like pina
No.
coladas. Yeah.
No.
What's great about this song is how ridiculous it is. Like the fact that he was tired of his lady. They'd been together too long. So he made up a
Right.
personal ad, right? And he gets a response back. And at the end, he goes to meet and obviously finds out that it's the girl that he was trying to get away from. And instead of being like,
Isn't that fun?
what the fuck? How dare you? You know, you're trying to cheat on me, or you're trying to cheat on me? You know, well, let's just call it quits. They're like, oh, it's you. Oh, that's funny. Let's continue this whole charade. And then end of the song. I never knew you liked pina coladas and getting caught in the rain. That's the whole premise. That's the song. It's ridiculous. But it always reminds me of Dirty Work, and that's for that reason I can't entirely hate it. But yeah. Another top song in 1980, Gary Newman, Cars. That's a good song. You're in my car. You know that song? Yeah.
Yep.
That one came out in 1980. That used a lot of synthesizer on that. I mean, it's a pretty classic song. I don't think it was on Vice City, but I used to listen to it, from time to time. I think it was on a CD we owned. Smokey Robinson's "Cruisin'" was a top song of 1980. And I think, if you're not mistaken, the lyrics to that song are kind of weird. Well, okay, no, they're not weird unless there's a movie called Duets, I believe, with Huey Lewis and Gwyneth Paltrow in the 90s, where they sing "Cruisin'" together. Huey Lewis and Gwyneth Paltrow. But in the movie, they're father and daughter, and the song "Cruisin'" is about like getting it on. Yeah, cruising Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. Another top song of 1980, Kool and the Gang, Ladies Night. Oh, yes, it's Ladies Night. Oh, what a night.
Celebrate come out that year too?
I know that was the 70s. I didn't see it, at least. It didn't show up on the 80s. I'm guessing it was the 70s, but we got Willie Nelson's On the Road Again. Came out in 1980. On the road again.
Yeah. I mean,
can't wait to get on the road again. Yeah,
that's a
great song.
That is a good song. Yeah.
I like Willie Nelson's guitar. I can't remember what he calls it now. It's like begins with a T, Trapper or something like that. It's literally like a piece of wood with like a giant hole in it. It's just rotting away, but it still sounds all right.
Oh, I watched a YouTube video on how they restore that guitar like year after year.
It's like Mr. Burns.
Like it's like that same guitar, and it's just like, oh, we have to scrape away this and then, paint over that and like replenish this area. And so it still looks like a shitty guitar, but it's still like structurally sound. Like it still works as a guitar.
I think it's called Trigger. I think that's the name of the guitar.
Yeah, Trigger. Yep. That's it.
They've got Air Supply, Lost in Love. Don't quite remember that one, but another Air Supply song made my worst songs of 1980, so we can get to that.
Fair enough.
Styx, Babe. The band Styx, Babe. Another top song of 1980.
I don't know.
I don't remember that one that well.
I think Styx was better in the 70s when they were like more of a progressive rock band.
Right.
Same as like I want to say same as Rush, but Rush had quite a few great albums in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And then they fell off and made some shitty stuff.
The Pretenders, Brass in Pocket. That's a good one.
Brass in Pocket.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
I'm sure I've heard it.
Let me try and think of the lyrics here. So it's like where she's like, "Gonna make you no tell."
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Got
wow, that was 1980.
Wow. In pocket. Yeah. Yep. Gonna use my arms. Gonna use my legs. All that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. All that jazz. Yeah. The Pretenders, Brass in Pocket. Another top song of 1980, Eagles, Heartache Tonight.
Gonna be a heartache tonight.
Yeah.
I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
Another top song in 1980, we got George Jones, He Stopped Loving Her Today. Considered by many and on tops of many lists as the greatest country song of all time.
Whoa.
This song is, it's funny because George Jones at this point in his career was just a raging alcoholic, and he got numerous DUIs and all that shit. And so he's his career's
most
on
of
a,
us have, yeah.
yeah.
But you said this was country music, so
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you'd have to.
His career's on a down spiral. He's just nothing's going on, and he gets offered this song, and he doesn't want to sing it because he says it's, in his words, "I don't want to sing this morose motherfucker." Um, but the very first line of the song basically gives away the entire song, where he says, he said, "I'll love you till I die." He said he'd love her till he dies, or something like that. And then it goes on, and it's basically this slow song, right? And it's got this catchy chorus. And then you come to find out that the guy in the song is dead, and they went to his funeral. And so he stopped loving her today because he's dead. That's why. So you don't find that out till at the end. So, but the very first line of the song gives it away. And so, yeah, it's a very melancholy song. It's country music to a T, and it's thought of
morose, like
Morose.
Mr. George said.
Yes, morose. Very morose song. But yeah, considered to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest country song of all time. And we've got Bob.
What was it called again?
George Jones. He stopped loving her today.
You stopped loving her today. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. We got Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, "Against the Wind." So the top song.
Against the wind. Yeah.
And then I last picked for top songs of 1980, Pete Townsend, "Let My Love Open the Door." Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
open the door.
Open the Door. Yeah.
Let my love open the door. Yep. Meester would sing that song.
Yeah, you can keep that one.
All right.
Did you mention any REO Speedwagon?
I didn't see anything yet.
Well, was there any?
Keep on loving you.
That came out in 1980.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
everybody. I can only say that because I was introduced to it, like most people my age, during Vice City.
Yeah.
Playing Vice City.
Yeah.
But
Ooh, that was in Vice City. Nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Keep on loving you. Well, if that's on there, then.
Well, the REO Speedwagon Sticks. That's like my mom's music.
Yeah. Bon Jovi, Journey.
That's a great song to
Bon Jo-
blast
yep.
while you're driving around in Vice City, man.
Oh hell yeah! I used to do that.
I
all the
mean,
time.
it is. Yeah.
They have Billie Jean
But-
too.
That stuff. I think as my mom's music as I'm growing up, but you like look back on their catalog, it's like, whoa, there's some like good shit there.
Yeah.
Because it's like almost like progressive rock and kind of complicated stuff in their earlier stuff before they turned into like mom music,
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, mom.
It's all right. I mean, I'm not saying all right. Like I'm not your mom, but that's all right.
Well,
she's
the album's called like High Infidelity, which seems very REO Speedwagon like. And then it's got
Right.
like a pretty much a nude woman. She might be doing drugs, and
How
then
did
some dude with his back to us. So, not what you picture when you think of REO Speedwagon. So check out High Infidelity. You might like that album.
Yeah, I can't believe it. That came out in 1980. That wasn't on any list, anything that I looked at. I absolutely would have mentioned that too. Well, yeah, I mean, other than, Take It on the Run. Take It on the Run's on that.
Yeah.
Heard it from a
Take
friend
it.
who.
Yep.
Heard it from a friend who.
You take it on the run, baby.
Yep, that one. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So High Fidelity is definitely worth listening to. Great
Yeah,
RL.
I can't sing.
Yeah. So that's all right. All right. We move on to the worst songs now of 1980. We'll go with Captain and Tennille, "Do That to Me One More Time." Don't know what the fuck was going on with this group. It's a group called Captain and Tennille. It's some old guy dressed in a captain's outfit with a captain's hat, I guess at least, and some lady singing, all dolled out. And it's weird. I'm not sure why this was a hit. A boss of mine once mentioned Captain and Tennille to me, and was immediately dismissed that I wouldn't know who that was. And I did know who that was, and I wasn't sure why she was bringing them up, because she doesn't want to know what I think of them. But yeah, not much. Captain and Tennille, "Do That to Me One More Time," one of the worst songs of 1980. The Chipmunks, "My Sharona," one of the worst songs of 1980. You've got Air Supply's All Out of Love. That is another
What?
Yes, all one of the worst songs of 1980.
No, that song is awesome.
Oh, well, you can keep that one. I'll take Pete Townsend.
I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you.
I used to
that's a
sing
good
that.
song.
I used to
I
sing
vote
that
with Brad.
I used to sing that song as a karaoke, but with my buddy. His name was Dave. But we do it in falsetto. And
So lost without you.
the barkeep was so pissed. She's like, "If you fucking do that again, you're out of here forever. You are never coming back."
Chris, you have been banned from many bars.
I have for many reasons.
Or musical selections.
Or singing it. Anything to do with music.
Or
in
singing
bars
it. Yep. Anything music oriented, you have been banned. Yes. Fucking jukebox bandit.
I enjoy it too.
Yeah, he's got the My Sharona by the Chipmunks lined up. We got all right, we got two more left here for worst songs of 1980. All right, we're gonna go with this one first. Christopher Cross, Sailing. I fucking hate this song. I hate this album. I hate this artist. Mainly because you won Best Album of the Year in 1980 over The Wall by Pink Floyd. The reason Pink Floyd didn't win.
That's a good reason.
Is because of Christopher fucking Cross, Sailing. It's just this soft rock crap. He sounds like Kermit the Frog, like he's singing. And Sailing takes me away. The dream wish to carry me. Soon I will be free. It's just really corny, lame crap. Really bad song. But cocaine's a hell of a drug. And so Sailing was a major hit.
I've been listening it the whole time you've been talking about it, and yeah, what is it?
Yeah,
it's nothing.
Yeah,
there's nothing here. I feel like it's just been droning the whole time. Oh shit! And there's like a wind chime.
Yeah,
like, bring.
You should hear the breakdown in the middle. Yeah, this would be the worst song of 1980.
Yeah, there's nothing going on.
Well, it's either that or maybe this one. The last worst song of 1980. Go ahead.
Okay, but like Christopher Cross, Sailing, I'm like skipping around, at the beginning, the end, the middle. It's all sounds exactly the same. And there's like a pink flamingo on the cover, doing its thing. And
I don't know. I listened to it too. It sounded kind of like M83, like the band that you listen to now. It kind of sounds like that crap. So just saying, very similar.
Bette Midler, The Rose, the last worst song of 1980. And that one was like, what the fuck is The Rose? Midler. And I was just like, what's The Rose? And the song starts off with some say love, it is a river. And I'm like, oh my God, it's that song? That's the fucking song? Oh my God, it's called The Rose? The Rose. Immediately put that on my worst song list of 1980. So is it Christopher Cross or is it Bette Midler?
I don't know.
I vote Christopher
when
Cross.
You say Bette Midler, and I think Bette Midler on The Simpsons. Oh right. No, Bette Midler. She's like cleaning up the highway and throws the empty beer can at Snake and the other guy, and I'll get you for this, Midler, and they explode off.
I remember her on Seinfeld. I think it was Bette Midler.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
The stand-in, I think it was the episode. So yeah, either one of those, Christopher Cross, Sailing, or Bette Midler, The Rose. I think Esteban would take The Rose as worst of the two, or maybe the Chipmunks by Sharona.
I'm not going to listen to any of these. There's a lot of good music that we've discussed already. That's going to take up all my time. I'll play one of these at the bar though.
Say we play one of these songs to play us out when we close up this episode. So
I'd say the Christopher Cross.
Right. Yeah. Get that one
so
ready.
So generic, just like nothing. It's like I was listening to Silence.
Yeah,
generic is a good way to put it. It was very generic, even by today's standards.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Make sure you blast it. Start off with the chorus so we just know. All right. We'll get now to the next portion. Next, it's like Irish. Next portion. Next portion of our podcast. The next portion of a podcast.
Oh yeah, don't you know?
Oh yeah, with the TV shows. So we're gonna do television of 1980.
space, the final frontier.
The sky.
Nothing's gonna stand in my way as long as we got each other. Thank you for being a
Yo, Joe!
every time.
Believe it or not, it's just heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
And the TV shows that debuted in 1980. I've got 3. We can just knock them out straight ahead. 3: Magnum
Great.
PI, Bosom Buddies, and Heathcliff.
What?
The other ones,
What the
almost
fuck did you just say?
Magnum PI.
You
Magnum,
know what
Yeah?
Magnum PI is?
yeah.
I've heard of that. Yeah, but the other ones,
Bosom Buddies is a Tom Hanks. I can't remember the other guy, but
Bosom Buddies.
they dress up like women, and they just it's like
no
to save rent, yeah, or something like that. And so yeah, they're
No.
they're Bosom Buddies. And Heathcliff was
No.
a cartoon.
How does that save rent?
I don't know if it was a safe rent.
I don't know. I'm looking at it and I'm scared. I'm scared about this.
I don't know. It's something to do. It's something they're trying to pull one over on somebody, and they have to be women in order to do it. So they pretend to be women or whatever.
Okay, yep. The problem is that the complex is for women only. So Kip and Henry, 2 young studs working for a New York ad agency, come home to find their apartment building being demolished. Amy, the receptionist, convinces them to move into her complex. And then that's the problem. It's for women only.
It's only for the women.
Jesus Christ.
Which I didn't
Well,
know.
little historical context. I don't think like 1980. If you were a single woman, you couldn't live alone.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. That makes sense now. That's fucked. That's crazy. That was only 1980, which is 43 years ago, as you pointed out, but doesn't feel like it was too long ago. Man,
You couldn't rent at least.
Yeah.
Alone.
Damn. All right. That was it though. And Heathcliff is just
Yeah,
basically like
that's-
a cartoon, like a Garfield cartoon. It's like basically Garfield, but set in a junkyard. And I used to watch it when I was a kid.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine, but man, Bosom Buddies, this is a fucking black hole of something.
Yep. I don't think we had the theme for that. And our
No, we did not.
Top 10 TV shows of 1980 basic television. Number 10 was Little House on the Prairie, my mother's favorite show. She loved that show.
Yeah,
She
my
fucking
mother's
loves that
also
show.
favorite show.
I don't understand it. I don't understand. It's the same fucking
it's
up
just-
show every time. Sorry, Linda. I don't mean
Yeah.
anything, but it's just, it is. It's the same show episode every time.
Well,
Every
yeah,
time.
it's just a bunch of people living in the fucking 1600s or whatever the fuck. Like,
Yeah.
oh, little Susie has dysentery, and
It's like
I don't know.
Oregon Trail. It's basically
Yeah,
like-
it's the Oregon Trail, but in one spot.
we get like it's the family. I can't remember their names, but there's like the certain people in town that are always like the bad people, and like music, the ominous music will play when they show up on screen, and they get in little tidbits, and little things happen, and it's all resolved by
Right.
the end. It's the same episode. Or one of the I was looking for like outrageous sitcom plot lines, to talk about, and yeah, it just one of the episodes of Little House on the Prairie. Someone tells this family friend of the family, to watch over their kid after they die, and it turns out that it's not a human baby. It's a chimpanzee, much like what's his name, Clint Eastwood and his ape movie or something like that. And he doesn't realize it's a chimp until much later, and so
What?
now the chimp attacks the girl that's always causing problems for the family, and now they got to decide whether they put the chimp down or send the chimp on his way, and it's just like this ridiculous plot line. And that was an episode of Little House on the Prairie. Number 9 was Three's Company.
Wow.
Number 8 was House Calls. Number 7 was Alice. Number 6 was The Jeffersons. Number 5 was The Love Boat. Number 4 was
Okay,
MASH.
yeah.
MASH.
Oh,
classic.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Number
Yes, excellent show.
number 3 was 60 Minutes. It made it back up. Remember the beginning of the 90s? 60 Minutes was like number
Still
1.
there?
Yeah, 60 Minutes was like
Yeah.
number 1. Yeah. So number 2 was The Dukes of Hazzard, and number 1 is Dallas. Yeah, Dallas was the number 1 show. I think that was the year that this guy JR, who was one of the first like hugely like popular like villains on TV, he gets shot, and everyone was wondering who shot JR. And it happened back in March of 1980, and everyone, like 70 some odd million people watched. Of course, there's like 5 channels, but an insane amount of people watched that new season of Dallas to see who shot JR. It was crazy. And the worst TV show to debut in 1980 was Galactica 1980.
Galactica?
I just didn't have much to choose from. That was pretty much it. There wasn't a lot of episodes or shows that got released in 1980.
What's interesting about this time period too, that if you're, maybe on the younger side of things, you maybe not realize this, but there was like 3 channels in 1980, right?
Yeah,
So,
pretty much. Yep.
And you really, and there's prime time, right? When everybody was home from work is when we considered it to be prime time, and like 7 o'clock, during the week or on a weekend was a big deal. That's when those shows played. So that's why everybody sat around the TV and watched like one of those shows.
Right. Yeah.
You only had 3 choices.
And you had to like run to the bathroom. You couldn't pause it or anything like that. You couldn't skip.
You probably only had one TV.
Yep.
So you couldn't just, go to your room
and
and
the whole family
watch it.
Gathered around to watch the TV show. Just a different time altogether. But yeah, that will do it for TV shows of 1980. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll move into, there isn't a great deal of them, but we're going to mention them anyway. There'll be more as the years go on, although maybe one year we won't have any at all, because I'm pretty sure they weren't. Once a certain video game is released, it pretty much kills the industry until Nintendo is released. But for 1980, we'll get to the video games. I'm going to play our intro here now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and for video games,
it's the same goddamn intro.
Well, we have another one, but we hadn't quite hammered it out.
Well,
yeah,
it
doesn't matter. It doesn't.
I may have not put the work into it. Yeah,
that's okay. No worries. For video games of 1980, they're all on the arcade. Well, except for one's on the Atari. Arcade, probably the biggest one of maybe the early 80s at least, easily. Pac-Man. Pac-Man was released on the arcades in 1980. It's a big one. Arcades started becoming huge.
Something wrong? Oh,
yeah. It just I don't know. It took off with like a like there was like a Mrs. Pac-Man. There was a Pac-Man song, Pac-Man merchandise. Everybody loved Pac-Man. It was this crazy it just blew up. It's crazy. But I mean, in terms of gameplay, quality, it's just, there's not much there. And I was looking up like reviews and whatnot for video games, and everyone is from like 1980, and this is amazing. This is amazing. They hadn't really seen anything be like that before. So another arcade game that was released in the year 1980, Asteroids, and Missile Command.
Oh shit!
Missile Command.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was a good one. The Atari one that was released was called Dragster. That was one made famous because there's this guy who claimed to have like the world record, and he's been found to be a fraudulent person. Like he's claimed numerous video game world records that have all been found to be false. And this Dragster one is physically impossible. The game doesn't allow you to do it that quick. So he's what do you call it? Made a forgery of it. He's kind of like, it's fake. It's not real.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a Netflix documentary about him.
Yes. Yeah, I can't remember what this guy's name is, but yeah, you can tell he's just got like this way too cleanly shaven beard. He looks like almost like a piece of plastic or something like that. And he looks like this fake sort of individual. For video games, that's pretty much all we got. For worst video game, for the desktop microcomputer, the TRS-80.
The microcomputer.
Olympic decathlon. That's what I got. It looks terrible. It's got like you can do like long jump, just with these weird, horrible graphics. It's on this little screen. Video games are going to be really difficult to do. At least starting off.
Fine.
It's starting off. So for video games, there wasn't too much in 1980. But
yeah, according
else,
to Wikipedia, there's only 2 genres of video games. One was shoot 'em ups. So like asteroids, space invaders, those
of
things.
course.
And then the other was maze, like Pac-Man.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Only 2 types of video games. Right.
Graphics will never get any better than this.
All right. Well, thank you. And with that, I hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation, and will join us again for another installment of History with Herstafat. Don't forget to hydrate, exercise, and to like and subscribe to the podcast. All of these things are essential for your health and well-being. Take care of yourselves and each other.